me, Alex. Today I have a palette declutter video. I'd like to start doing some sort of a decluttering series. I'm not going to have it for every single category because there's some categories like blush where I basically just kind of have what I have and I use what I have and that's all I have. But for eyeshadow palettes, obviously I kind of have a lot. My main goal is to get it all to fit into this basket. I think I can do that. So I'm gonna go through my palettes and show you what I'm keeping and I'm not keeping. Okay, so first off, I'm going to talk about my Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette. This is definitely going in my keep pile. I haven't used it as much recently because basically the second I got it, I started my Project Pan on my Anastasia Self-Made palette, but I'm thinking once I do my Finish 8 by Easter, I'm definitely going to be getting a lot more use out of this one. I also have my Urban Decay Electric palette as a definite keep. This palette is honestly probably my like desert island palette. Like I know most people would choose like a neutral something or other, but this one is so good that I literally bought a backup of it when I heard that it was being discontinued. So I am keeping this one. So I have these two palettes, the Profusion Smoky and Drama palettes. I also had the Bare one, but I've already gotten rid of that one. I did reviews of both of these. They're pretty decent palettes. I got them for $5 each. However, I genuinely do not use these anymore. I got these when I was first really getting into makeup and doing YouTube, and the quality is great. I love like the colors in the smoky one. And the Drama one's all right, but I wouldn't use it as much. I have enough similar shades from both of these in eyeshadow formulas that I kind of like better. So I'm gonna pass these along to somebody who could use it more. The next one, Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance. I love this palette. I love it, I love it, I love it. I am keeping this. There is no question about this. I have never heard of anybody who did not like this palette. It is beautiful and warm-toned and unique, and this is going in my keep pile. I have the City Color Contour Effects palette. I used to use this. I think I did a full-on review of this one as well when I was first starting out my channel. The contour and bronze shades are really great. The highlight shade is a little difficult to work with, and I can only really use this when I'm super tan because the contour shade is as dark as it is. So it comes off really, really dark and harsh on me. So I think I'm just gonna pass this one along. Another one I'm passing along is this LA Colors 16 color eyeshadow palette. I did a look with this one. It's in the shade Haute. It's really pretty. Like the colors are pretty great. I can't get it open for the life of me. So hopefully whoever ends up with this one can open it. It's really great. Got it from Five Below for like below $5. I'm going to pass this one along as well just because I have my Urban Decay Electric palette and I have my Pastel Goth palette, and all of the ones that I'm planning on keeping are going to have like some semblance of these colors in them. Here's another no-brainer as to me keeping it. This is the one I'm currently trying to pan. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Self-Made palette. It is beautiful. I've already hit pan on Treasure, and I'm coming really close on Buttery, Hot and Cold, and Hot Chocolate. It's beautiful. It is such a good like starter palette or everyday palette or just whatever you friggin' want palette, so I'm keeping that. The next one I'm kind of having trouble with. It's my Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I really liked it when I first got it, but I have since like come across some neutral palettes that I like more. I do remember really genuinely liking this, and I think it might be just like the sheer number of palettes I have right now that makes me like not use this one. So I'm thinking I'm going to put it into my collection of ones that I'm keeping, and hopefully if I like reduce the amount of stuff that I have, I will be able to use it more often and rediscover why I really loved it when I first got it. Another one I'm keeping is this Becca Blush with Light palette. I'm also doing face palettes here. These are like just such a good combination of blushes. I got this during the VIB sale. You can see it's really, really pretty. Like honestly, if I could just have like 3 shades of blush, this palette would do me for like my life. I don't wear that much blush, so this one is going in my keep pile. One I'm giving away is the City Color Figtastic palette. I got this at Five Below as well, and I have literally never used it. I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, these colors are so pretty. I should totally use this. And then I never did, and I really don't know why. Granted, there aren't a lot of matte shades in it, so that could be a reason. I'd rather pass this along to somebody who will actually use it. One palette that I'm definitely going to keep, even though I know y'all don't see me using this as much on my channel, is the BH Cosmetics Galaxy Chic palette. I did a series like of Steven Universe looks using this palette, and it is so pretty. It is really inexpensive from BH Cosmetics. I know they released like a second version of this too with like some deeper shades, which I'm really tempted by as well, just because it's awesome looking. And I especially love the shades like Jupiter and Venus. They're really pigmented like on their own. Look at that. You don't have to wet the shadows, but like when you do, it makes it like even more amazing than they already are. So I'm keeping this. I also have two of the Naked palettes from Urban Decay. I'm keeping both of them for different reasons. I love the Urban Decay Naked Smoky, and I haven't used this in a while, but this used to be one of my holy grail palettes. And looking at the colors are still absolutely perfect for me, and I do want to use this more, so I'm keeping that one. And I'm also keeping the Naked 3 just because to me these are nudes unlike any other nudes that I have in my collection. And I especially love like this entire side of the palette. It's just beautiful. But I love like this entire half of the palette, but I love the palette in its entirety. But this is beautiful, and I'm keeping that. I'm also keeping my Kat Von D Alchemist palette. First of all, I would like literally just keep it for the name and the packaging because Alchemist, but I also seriously get a lot of use out of these highlight shades as highlights, as eyeshadow toppers, as lipstick toppers, as literally everything. So I'm keeping this one. I'm also keeping my NYX Strobe of Genius palette. As you can see, I have seriously hit pan on this shade. I wish I could buy like this shade just as a single because it is like the perfect highlight for my skin tone. But overall, this palette is really good if you are new to highlight and want to figure out what works for your skin tone, or if you're like me and you get really tan during some parts of the year and you're really pale during some parts of the year. And it's only like $18, $19. It was under $20, and it's really good quality. Also keeping my Kat Von D Shade and Light contour kit. I'm trying to use up as much as I can and be able to get like the refillable kind, because obviously I've used up that and I'm coming close to hitting pan on like all three of these. It just depends on the time of year. I never use this side for obvious reasons because I'm pale AF. This is a holy grail palette, so I'm keeping that. I'm going to pass along this City Color Intense Blush Quad. These are colors that I would just genuinely never use. I know I bought this a while back. I was going as Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror, and this was like a really good palette to do that with. But for the style of makeup that I kind of regularly do, this really isn't something that I need, so I'm gonna pass this one along. I'm also not going to be keeping my Kat Von D Serpentina palette, and it breaks my heart quite a bit because I was so pumped for this when it came out and I gave it like a pretty decent review. But looking at the colors, I've only used the shades Blood Milk, Queen, and Hieroglyph, which are all really amazing. Like, see, they're really pigmented. But if those are the only colors that I'm going to be using out of this palette, I have a friend who would get so much better use out of this, and I can always just get those warm tone colors from my Modern Renaissance palette. So this one's going to a friend as well. I'm going to be keeping my Morphe and Kathleen Lights palette. It's beautiful. I use this quite a bit. I know, according to Fira, Morphe isn't cruelty-free anymore. I don't know, she like is able to talk about that better than I can as to what's actually going on, but I trust her. So I'm going to like not use this necessarily in any like videos anymore, but this is something that I'm really going to be using in my everyday life because I think all of the colors in there are really perfect. I'm also going to be keeping my The Balm Nude Tude palette. This is one of the ones that I don't use as much as I should, but all of the shadows in it are so beautiful and pigmented, and I did a really good cut crease using Sexy in the crease and Standoffish on the lid, and that's something that I would like to film and use this palette for you because like it's a palette that's filled with such good shades. Sultry is a perfect crease shade. There's a matte black that obviously I use a lot. Sassy is great for the brow bone, and I like mixing Sassy and Standoffish for like a really good inner corner highlight, and just everything is so creamy and buttery and perfect, and I need to use this one more. I'm also going to keep my Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. It's beautiful and rainbowy, and I love things that are beautiful and rainbowy, and this is like the biggest palette that I own, and I just like, I would be sad if this weren't in my collection, because if there's a color that I can't get in the Pastel Goth or Electric palette, I will be able to find it in here. And also I just like using the mirror in the mornings. Even if I'm not using this palette at all, I will just sit it up on my desk and use the mirror of this because it is so huge. I'm going to pass along my NYX Sex Bomb palette. It's really good quality. NYX shadows are really great, but I already have a lot of these other shadows in like more high-end palettes that I use, so somebody else can get this one. Same with the Shea Moisture palette. Again, I really like the shadows. The shadows are so pigmented in this, and I use this for my Black Owned Makeup Brands challenge. It's really pretty. This is in the shade Ocean Glass. It's really good, but I haven't used these a lot, and I feel as though somebody else could love these a lot more than I currently can. I'm keeping my Too Faced Cat Eyes palette. This was one that I panned Tiger's Eye pretty much, like I've hit pan on that one. And I love this. It's a really good to-go palette because it just kind of has all of the different looks, like a neutral look, a slightly colorful-ish look, and a really nice smoky look. So it's really good to just like take with you if you're going somewhere for a weekend, and I like that. I'm also gonna keep my Sugar Pop palette, which I'm a little hesitant to keep since I do have a lot of dupes for some of the shades from my Concrete Minerals Unicorn set. This is one that I kind of have too much sentimental value that I like couldn't not keep it, at least at this point in my life right now. So I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna try to get a little bit more use out of it than I have, and I'll see what happens. I also have these two palettes from Strobe Cosmetics that I got because they were American Horror Story themed. It is their Freak Show and Hotel palettes. These palettes are so beautiful and so pigmented, and I use these actually quite a bit. I kind of like have a thing where I kind of like rediscover how beautiful and pigmented they are. Like, see, that's Room 64 Checking In and Royale from the Hotel palette. And the Freak Show palette is really pretty. This one in the middle broke, so I need to repress that shadow like I do my emotions. But they're both really pretty, super pigmented, and they just got some eyeshadow dust all over my bedspread, not bread spread. I would like to spread some butter on some bread and eat it right now though. And I also have this tiny little quad that I got as a sample from Coastal Scents that I got when I was ordering some brushes. I'm not going to use this. I thought online that these colors looked like the most interesting as a free sample, but I'm really just not going to use these, so somebody else can take those. And I also have this Wet n Wild Petal Pusher palette, which I've used a couple times in a lot of like my drugstore videos. This Wet n Wild have such good eyeshadows. I really like this one. Everybody talks about their comfort zone, but these colors, like the purpley tones, are a lot more me. So if I had to choose like one drugstore palette, it would definitely be this one because it's really great. So these are all of the palettes that I am keeping. I was able to fit all of these into this one basket, which I'm very proud of. And these are all of the palettes that I am getting rid of. So I think I did pretty good on all of my palettes. I can kind of just consolidate all of them together now and have more room on my desk for me to buy more palettes, because that's how my life works. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see you on my next one. Hope you'll have a wonderful day. Bye!